for you. You're welcome.
Mike, when Nets scored 5 goals, 5 of your first 7 goals from your defense, what's enabled them to pinch and be aggressive?
Well, obviously it's a great job by them. It's we believe that we have a group of defensemen that we can get involved, that they have the ability and on top of that the hockey sense to recognize when it's there and to not put us in a vulnerable position. A lot of credit has to go to the forwards as well. Those types of things, they don't happen if your forwards aren't recovering pucks, if your forwards aren't hanging on to pucks and opening opportunities for the D-men to get involved. And then obviously, if you have a real good, strong third man high in the offensive zone, then your D can get involved a little bit more.
I was going to ask you, the forwards obviously are to credit there. It just seems like you guys show you that 5-man unit.
Yeah.
Everything's playing together, playing well.
I mean, the league's too hard now, and it's too fast to try to to just be stuck in positions all the time. And so when you have an opportunity, in the offensive zone, then the way teams defend, you have to have the ability to create some movement to try to take them out of position. Again, the thing you have to make sure of is that you're not putting yourself in a bad position, and you're not doing it without purpose, and you're not doing it without the understanding that there's risk there too. But whether it's in the offensive zone and creating more movement, whether it's off the rush like we saw against Pittsburgh, and trying to generate more of a 4-man attack, then like I said, it's hard to score in this league if you're not taking advantage of those opportunities quickly.
To get those 3 goals there in 5 minutes, did you take advantage of some situations there?
Well, I thought that was where we really started to get to the offensive zone. That's what we're at our best. And I was anticipating this type of game. I knew it was going to be, where in game 1 I think that we capitalized in some rush situations. I wasn't expecting a lot of that tonight. And then I thought that after the first 3-4 minutes, we settled in and we found a way to get to the offensive zone, and that's. Going up against them next time, we're going to have to be ready for that because they're not going to give you a lot of rush opportunities. They don't give you a lot of open ice. You really have to support the puck well, and you really have to execute to get to the offensive zone. They make it hard to get there, but then just like anybody, it doesn't matter how good you are defensively. If you defend enough, eventually, you're going to crack.
What did you think of Jake Allen?
I thought Jake was outstanding. I thought he was really good in game 1. And I thought he was outstanding tonight. They were throwing a lot of pucks from all different angles. They get in the offensive zone, and their forwards were throwing it almost from the goal line, or throwing it up top, and they were just throwing it there as much as possible. And they had a lot of traffic around the net. For me, it reminded me of one of his performances in the playoffs, the way he was fighting through that traffic and finding a way to see those pucks, and that's not an easy thing. And then on top of that, there's going to be some pucks that bounce off people and hang around the net, but he was in control and held his position well in those.
Did it sink in at all that tonight was supposed to be, it would have been your first home game as a Blues coach, but because of what happened last year, you've already established yourself and
yeah.
In the playoffs.
No, I can't say that it did, but spent a little time thinking about it now, though. That was good. Yeah, no, I mean, in all honesty, for me, I was excited about the game, and I could tell that our crowd was excited, and they were loud, and it was a fun atmosphere. But I also recognize this was a real important game for us. You're heading out on a 4-game road trip here. There's a different feeling if you're going out on the road. Now we've won a couple games, and we know that we have a tough road trip, but it's just these are big games heading into that road trip. So I think that's what my focus was.
So it continues to be that debate. Do teams need an enforcer? Tonight you see Thorberg step in when Tarasenko got messed with. If you were an advocate of that, you like to see that element in your team?
Well, I mean, Thorbs is a team guy. I thought that line, I thought Broadsy's line, Uppy, Thorbs, they were one of the better lines at getting to the offensive zone tonight and creating some momentum for us when they were having a push. So, obviously you got to play the game, and he did that. But, I think that if you don't have an answer, sometimes teams can try to push you out of games, and certainly that didn't happen tonight.
Mike, you used the word speed and fast pace with this team. Is that sticking out to you in these first 2 games?
I thought more so in the first game. You know, the thing about trying to play fast is you can only be as fast as the way that you execute, as the way that your defensemen, you know, break plays, break forechecks, break neutral zone forechecks, and put pucks on either sticks or into spaces that we can skate into. I thought, you know, and credit has to go to Dallas, the way that they checked tonight. They had good sticks, and they had guys in good position, and I don't think that we executed and made hard enough plays in certain situations. And because of that, we weren't as fast tonight. But every game's a little bit different too. So we'll again, like I said, after the first game, we'll look at this, and you know, there's going to be games where some parts of your game are real strong and other parts slip a little bit. The key is to find a way, and we did that tonight.
What did you see from Dunn and Thompson in their second game?
You know what? Both guys in a tough situation for them. The way that, you know, their big line was getting a lot of ice time, and both guys got, I would say, almost lost in the shuffle a little bit. I think it's a good lesson for both of them that you have to make sure you keep your head in the game, and you have to be ready for that next shift. You know, I think that both of them were fine, but you know, just like we'd expect right now, these are learning moments, and that was not an easy game for guys like that to play in, based on the fact that they had to sit in the bench for a little while and then find a way to get in and get involved. But both guys were fine.
So what is that balance now of making sure they learn, whether it's from up top or on the ice, without taking away confidence? And how do you walk that line?
Yeah, that's up to us to gauge as coaches. I mean, the one thing about having young players, and every team has young players in the NHL, and we talked about this last year, is, you know, it's very important that you develop players if they're here, you know, young players. So, you know, I think that there's lessons there, you know, whether it's just sort of mentally and how you keep yourself engaged in the game, like I was talking about, but then there's an awful lot of things within the game, things that we can look at on video, learning situations that we can teach them with. But at the same time, you know, you don't want to paralyze them. You don't want them being afraid of making a play, of trying to make a difference, of, you know, because then next thing you know, you're caught watching, and this league's too good to do that.
Did you flip yes and the Army there?
Did, yeah. Yeah, just you know what, they loaded their big line back up, and it was just a score and time of game matchup situation. Yeah.
You mentioned the importance of winning this game before you go out on the road, but is it also important against a Central Division team that you're going to see a lot this season? Well,
I mean, we talked about this a lot, and we still know it's very true. This is going to be a very difficult year to make the playoffs. That's our obvious goal, and so every game is huge. You know, like when you're playing a division opponent, you know, if you can take advantage of that, and if you can, you know, obviously you always want to set the tone for a series when you're going up head to head against a team too. So yeah, we recognize that we still have a very long, difficult road ahead of us, and that's why we're trying to stay in the moment. That every game is the most important one you're playing. Thanks, guys.